Hannah, very nice to meet you in person.
You too.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is great.
Pleasure. And I have a lot of questions that I want to ask you about your life, your work, and your path until here.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to start with something. And you and I were just talking about your background. Your family is partly Italian.
Mm-hmm.
You have a very good connection with Italy and with your grandmother and grandfather as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I found a poem that you wrote about your grandmother, your Nonna.
Oh, yeah, cute.
And can I read that to you?
Yeah, please. I would love that.
The poem goes, if a smile could exist in human form, it would be my Nonna. She would tell you she did the best she could, and I would tell you that her existence is a pure miracle.
Mm.
She would tell you that she's proud of you, of all she has birthed, and I will tell you that without her, I wouldn't know all the magical parts of myself. Mm. She would tell you she wishes she could have learned more, and I will tell you that because of her, I'm learning more. Mm. Her cold limbs, her warm heart, her unwavering hours of dishwashing, her joy, her singing old Italian songs, her smile, her prayers, her food, her existence has been one of the greatest reminders of what love is in human form.
That's so sweet. I forgot I wrote that.
It was so beautiful, and I think I felt very connected because I'm also Italian. Mm-hmm. It reminded me of my grandmother. And do you want to share more about the poem?
Yeah. It's so funny because I was working on my second poetry book, and I just randomly decided to write this book. And at first I was actually going to make it about Italy. It was going to be learning to love myself in Italy. And so this was 3 or 4 years ago now, that when I was living in Italy, and I scratched the idea and I was like, if I write another book, I'll write it at some point, but I'm not going to force it. And then it just came to me this year where I wanted to write about love, but all of the lessons that I've learned in love through all of the beauty and all of the heartbreak. And so I was working on this book, and I was at my house, and my Nonna was over, and she is just enthralled by the things that I do. It's so vastly different than the life she's lived. And so for her to see me being able to be free in the life that I'm living because of the choice that she made years ago is the greatest gift, and for her and for me. And so when she was watching me write, and she's like, how do you write all this stuff? And I was reading her poems actually, and she's getting older, so she's forgetting a lot. Mm-hmm. She has really, she has great long-term memory, but her short-term memory is not great. And so she forgot. She's already asked me so many times about my poetry. She read my first book and has it, but she forgets that I write. And so when I was writing, I decided to read her a poem that I wrote, and she was like, oh, that was so good. Who wrote that? And I was like, I did. And she was like, you're kidding me. And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, yeah, what do you think I'm doing right now? And then she's like, you wrote that poem? And I was like, yes, I can write you a poem. And she's like, oh, no, you don't have to do that. And I'm like, I actually want to do that. And then I thought about it. I'm like, who has been such an embodiment in my life of unconditional love? And immediately, you could look at this woman and you can't help but smile, because her aura and her energy is just expansive. And for someone who has gone through so much and built such a life for herself and freedom for her lineage, it was such a gift to sit there and tap into all the love that I have in my heart for her and for my Italian culture and my roots. And yeah, so it flew out of me. And then I read it to her that night, sitting outside, and that's when I recorded it and I posted it on Instagram, and everyone was like, oh my God. And yeah, it felt really good.
Yeah. Such a beautiful, I think, experience that you had with your grandmother, very connecting, and it's in a way bringing her to your world.
Yeah.
Of which she is kind of the, in a way, the cause of all of this, in a good way. She has helped you. Her life has helped you being who you are right now.
Totally. And it's something she would always say is she would feel so bad that she didn't get to go to school. She graduated from barely, I think, actually high school, if she even did. I can't remember. But she felt so inadequate with her ability to be a part of society because of her lack of education. And so she took it upon herself when she came to America to study, like not even go to school, but just to learn as much as she could learn. And so she has filled her brain with just so much knowledge, and it's become wisdom over the years. And yeah, it's been a gift for me to now take that wisdom that's been passed down, even just in her energy, and give it back to her. And, you know, she's not going to be here forever. She's getting older and older. And she talks about death, actually, like it's her favorite thing. It's like so easy for her to talk about, well, one day I'm going to die and I'm going to die. And my whole life, actually, she's just been someone who's always talked about death as if it was just the most normal thing. And maybe it's because she's experienced and grieved and moved through a lot of it. But yeah, she's just this clear representation of a woman who is not afraid to show her emotions, is not afraid to feel and to feel loudly and to express and to love loudly. And that, yeah, there's no words that even that poem could really put to justice to express the amount of gratitude I have for her and her influence on who I am and who I'm becoming.
It's a big part of who you are, like big factor.
Yeah.
And thinking, when you reflect on your journey so far, who have been the people or experiences that marked you, both positively or negatively, if you think about the top, like 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, definitely my parents. My parents are so supportive of who I am and who I am becoming, and they've also been deeply challenged by me. They've been very, very challenged by my existence, I think, in a good way, because I'm not the typical, I'm going to go get a job and I'm going to, you know, do a 9 to 5 and I'm going to subscribe to a lot of things in our society, especially American society. I've just gone completely the opposite route. And yeah, they've continuously showed me love and support, even though I know that it's maybe not what they always want or what they had seen for me. So my parents, without a doubt, have, you know, been huge influences on the way that they've continued to show up and be present and be deeply involved in my life and supportive unconditionally, endlessly. They've also influenced just a lot of who I am. I think our parents influence us more than sometimes maybe we want to admit. But yeah, my mom and dad, for both different reasons. Like, my dad's a very intellectual human and he's super tapped into learning. Like, he just loves learning and he knows so much about so much in this life. And it's been the coolest thing to have that trait from him, where I just want to dive into everything. I want to learn as much as I can about all the things that fascinate me, no matter how silly it'd be about learning how to make a pizza, or it could be learning how to heal something in my body. Like, it's something that just I innately feel comes from observing him and you know, being guided by him. And
is he the son of that grandmother, the Italian grandmother?
No, so my dad's side of the family, he's all like Ashkenazi Jew and a mix of Eastern European. Other side of my family. My mom's side is all Italian. And that's the side of the family too that I've, you know, through my mom, there's been a lot of that Italian influence. Like, she has preserved that so well in our lives and made it very prominent, a deep part of our growing up in our culture, in our home. But my mom was a really big yoga influence as well. And she would drag us to yoga as kids, even if we didn't want to. No matter where we were going, we'd be traveling. It was like, okay, we're going to yoga, 6 a.m. And we're all like, what do you mean we're going to yoga? Like, I actually hated going to yoga for the longest time, but she'd make my brother go to yoga before school in the morning. He had to do like a hot, I think it was like a 75-minute Bikram class before high school every day. So she was a huge influence on devotion and dedication to yourself, to your family, to your wellness. And yeah, that has, you know, now become my whole life, my whole life and personality. So I have her to thank deeply for that. So they're two huge, you know, influences on me.
It's so interesting because then it seems that they have been supportive, and you alluded to the fact that they've been challenged by you.
Yeah.
In what way? So I have the assumption that it would be that they wanted that some kind of traditional career for you, the usual things that most parents want.
Totally.
And then you then say, no, I want to have a different life. Scrap all of that.
Yeah. Oh gosh. It's been, I think, in so many ways. I mean, first of all, my whole life, my whole career from like, you know, it's crazy to say career, but it was even from 7 years old, I was dancing competitively. And even as a kid, I would talk about wanting to be a professional dancer. And not once did my parents question that. For me to like lead a life that was in the arts, that was probably going to make me no money, that was probably going to be really hard for me to live a very satiated life. And they were like, okay, if that's what you want to do, we believe that you can do it. And so they supported me in my artistic expression all throughout my life. I think where the challenge came in is when I realized I didn't want to be that, and that I was holding on to parts of myself that were old versions of me that were really just hurt by life and only knew dance as who I thought I was and a form of deep expression. And so there was, you know, that for sure, where I think they saw how much I loved it and how good I was at it. And they were like, okay, you can actually really do this. So we're going to push you to do that and support you on that. And so many things from like my sexuality and discovering that I was bisexual in college was like a big thing where I think that really challenged them to see me differently and accept me. And, you know, I dated a woman for like more than 2 years. And I think that was a shift within my whole family of people having to take down their own judgments and their own perceptions of how they think I need to be or who they think I am. And so having to challenge, you know, what they believed in and who they wanted me to be in terms of like relationship and love and familyship. And yeah, I think it's also been me being this very free spirit who's like, okay, I'm going to go be a yoga teacher and I'm going to quit dance and I'm going to study writing. And then I'm going to decide that I don't want to do writing in the way that I was studying, which was, you know, news and journalism and broadcast. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to move to Italy and watch Italian kids. And they were like,
what?
Are you kidding me? And then I'm like, actually, I'm going to be a life coach. Like everything that I've just decided that I'm going to be, I do it fully. And I'm in the business of asking for forgiveness, not for permission. And I think that's been a challenge because I wanted to please my parents so much, and I still do want to please them. And that's been my own work to have to navigate. But yeah, I've definitely, you know, beyond that, it's like the whole life that I'm living and the things that I'm doing, being here in Bali right now. Like they're asking me every day, when are you coming home? When are you coming home? And I'm like, I joke with them. I'm like, you guys have attachment issues because how am I on the other side of the world for only, you know, a little while, but there's that they can't accept it. They do accept it, but they like also love and miss me. And more than it being an annoyance, it's a good feeling to have that they care. Yeah, those are just some examples, but there's been, trust me, plenty of things that I've done or been that I think have pushed them and continue to push them along the way. And it's been a learning lesson for us all. For sure.
And it seems that you have processed it very well and you have a very good relationship with your parents, first of all.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
And mutually you both consider, like they consider you, they appreciate you and support you for who you are, you want to be. And you probably do that for them.
Yeah. And I don't think I give them a choice either.
Yes.
I just do it. Like at this point, I'm like, this is me. You love me or you don't. And they've never once been like, we're not going to not love you. You know, they've always been like, okay, this is another thing. And I'm not a parent yet, so I don't know what that feels like to have, you know, planned out a whole life. And I'm one of 5. So there's 4 other siblings that are also in this mix, in this really beautiful, chaotic mess of life. And, you know, so I think I'm sure they had these deep visions for all of us. And I think we all challenge them, you know, doing all the different things that we do and being all the people that we are. And that's also like the greatest gift, in my humble opinion, of life, is that we get to become all these vast versions of ourselves over our lifetime. And it's, you know, a beautiful thing to have the privilege to do that, and the awareness and consciousness to say, okay, I'm going to let go of this version of me and become something else. And for your family to be a part of that, you know, is such a blessing.
Yes, it is. You mentioned that you still want to please your parents.
Yes.
How does that affect your decisions?
Yeah. So it's something I'm like really heavily dealing with right now. And I actually never voiced this clearly in my life until this period of life, like the last 2 or 3 months. And I think subconsciously I always knew that there was a very strong part of me that is a people pleaser. And I think it comes from growing up with 4 siblings and wanting attention and being like, what about me? But what about me? I'm here. And even when I was given that attention, like wanting more. And so that definitely has impacted, you know, I think a lot of the things I've done. I've been a performer my whole life. I've been dancing on stages and putting on shows for people. I've been on camera even since I was 12 years old, outside of dance, recording videos and sharing my life. And the gift of that has been, you know, plentiful, but the opposite has been I've become, rather, I want to use my language really wisely. Up until this point, I was moving from this space of people pleasing as much as I could. Anyone, anything, my parents, just everyone, and trying to be good enough for everyone and worthy of their love. And that left me feeling empty. Sometimes it would, you know, feel good to please other people, but there's a difference between people pleasing and service, and being of service to other people and supporting them. And so, yeah, all of that to say, I have now come to realize that I really want to please my parents, and I really wanted to please them. I think in part because of how good it felt to receive love as a child when I would do things right, when I would get the good grades, or when I would, you know, do really well dancing or whatever it was. And so there was a part of my brain that was just wired to want more of that. And then there came a point where when I started to disappoint them in these small ways of me, you know, being different than what they wanted, or me choosing to do something that I wanted, even if it wasn't what they wanted, and having to like accept those little heartbreaks along the way of like, whoa, I'm not actually going to be who you guys want me to be. And that hurts even me to feel, but I am going to be who I need to be. And hopefully you choose to love me in that. And so this last 2 or 3 months, I've done some psychosomatic work with it. I've done myofascial release with it, and just sat with it to be like, whoa, okay, I actually can voice this out loud now and recognize that I'm probably going to take some time to really work through all of this so that I can show up with the utmost love for myself first and foremost, and so that what I am able to share and hold in relationship with my parents is coming from the purest, most loving, most compassionate and respectful place for the both of us.
Clear, yes. And it's probably, thank you for sharing, first of all.
Yeah.
It's probably a big journey, and such a core part of probably your driver, your the way you see life, the way you act, and your purpose as well.
Totally. I think it's going to make me a better coach. It's going to make me a better yoga therapist. It's going to make me a better human to just really now dive deeper into what has come up and out for me, and understanding that part of me that just wanted to be loved and seen and held in those ways. You know, I was very loved and seen and held as a kid, and there's of course things that happen in life, whether it's with your parents or school or whatever, that lead you to be certain ways and to protect yourself and to protect your heart. And it's like, it's just a safety mechanism of your nervous system in the most simple terms, and understanding that and having the knowledge to be able to guide myself and to seek out the mentorship and the help and the support that I need is incredible, because I'm very resourced in that. So it will be a journey for sure. And I think this is just like the beginning right now. And I'm actually really excited, because it's like, wow, I understand why I felt all those things and why I was moving in all those ways. And I'm not going to look at that version of myself or those versions of myself and shame them or, hold any sort of regret towards them, but rather thank them for showing up with the information and the data that they had to take care of me and protect me. And now I can move differently. And that is liberating.
It's super liberating, because you can understand, am I making this decision because I really want, or is because to some degree I want to please that audience?
Yeah.
And I think the second one would be very dangerous if you have a career like you do.
Right.
And that includes an audience whether you're coaching clients or you're supporting other clients, or you have some kind of public image like you do with social media.
Yeah.
If you're people pleasing, you're subjecting yourself to the will or subconsciously choosing to prioritize other people's needs compared to yours.
And that actually, social media has been really helpful in that, surprisingly, because I just said F it one day and I just started posting like what I wanted to, instead of posting what I used to try to post what everyone else, I thought everyone else wanted to see and hear and whatnot. And then I thought back to my younger self, who was like 13 or 14 years old, posting YouTube videos of me like crying and moving through things, and even versions after who were, me in college, just sitting in my dorm room talking about how I was going through struggles and, sharing those vulnerable parts of myself with so much like detachment. I was like, I'm just going to post this. And I didn't think about it. And then I started to think about it as I got older, and on Instagram especially, I was just trying to like present myself in a certain way. And then when I started Growth of Mind, it was like a fresh start. And so everything I was posting was like, what do I want to post? Okay, I'm learning pranayama techniques. I'm going to post some pranayama. Okay, I want to post a video of me crying and then a video of me dancing. Okay, I'm going to post that. Like, it was just exactly what I felt inspired by, because then when I watch the video back, if I'm feeling, then that's all that matters. Like, if I'm feeling deeply within me, and whether that's inspiration or sadness or whatever, like, it's making me emote by watching what I created.
Yes.
That to me is exactly why I'm doing it. So it's like my own, I guess, healing in a way, or my own experiencing of the things that I'm sharing. And it's just coming through this straight channel versus like me, look at me, follow me. Yeah. I was just like, I couldn't do that anymore. And it wasn't even working. And then it started working because I stopped trying so hard.
Yes.
Which is wild.
It is wild. It does make sense though, because if you think about it, exactly what you said, like you're moving from thinking what you think people would want to see, which is like they kind of like you're staging something. Yeah. You're polishing a version of yourself to present it in a likable way to everybody. Yeah. To you now are doing something for an audience of one, which is yourself. Yeah. And because you're feeling some emotions, so whatever gets there is something that emotes you in a way that like makes you feel something. Highest chances that someone else will feel something. Right? Yeah. Yes.
It does make a lot of sense. And it makes so much sense in right now in this moment in my life of just continuing to do that and share that. And it's being received well because people are like, oh, you're just being you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I think I love seeing other people who are doing that too. I think about when I'm on social media, it's like seeing someone who comes up on my feed that is just so raw and real and sharing their lives, and it feels good on the receiving end. So
it is. I think I found you obviously through social media, and it must have been maybe beginning of this year, 2025.
Cool.
And I was in a moment where I was considering a life shift with like different things, but mainly like with my job. Yeah. And I wanted to start this, and it was beautiful to actually see. Yeah, exactly. I think it caught me in the right moment. And I think I forwarded some of your videos to maybe 2 or 3 of my best friends. One of them is now posting on social media. She's becoming a coach, and it was super interesting to see the way you shared things that was sweet and kind and human. And you were not selling a version of yourself. You were more, it felt like almost like I was watching your diary and your evolution and the things that came along the way with that.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, pleasure.
It's exactly like what I think had the intention to create is like what I do actually post my journal online a lot, which is so funny. I'm like, here's what's in my brain today. But it does feel like that for me. It feels like, yeah, just like stripping away pages and sharing them to the world and being like, okay, if it resonates, take it. And if not, let it go. Swipe, unfollow, whatever you need to do.
Yes, you're happy either way, right?
Yeah.
You're not trying to please the audience.
Yeah.
I've read, when I was researching for this interview, I've read that a big part, in the last 2 years, you kind of made this transition. And you made the decision. One very interesting part was that you said you left a healthy relationship because you felt called to do something else that eventually became growth of mind, and you started reorienting your career. You went to live partially in Bali.
Yeah.
Would you like to give more context on that?
Yeah, it's so funny because so many people, after I posted that video, messaged me. Like, I got so many requests, DM requests about, talk more about leaving a healthy relationship, talk more about this. We need to hear more about this. And I was so surprised that people were, resonating so deeply with that part of the video and being like, no one talks about this. And I was like, I never even thought about it. I was just sharing exactly what happened. And I think what's really fascinating is that we hear so many stories about heartbreak and about being rejected and about messy breakups and things not going well or divorce and the more like guttural experiences. And people don't always share about what it's like to leave a relationship where you hold so much love for this person and you just know that it's not right. And that has its own heartbreak. It has its own deep felt sense of grief there. But what I feel like is under talked about within that realm is that it's okay to do that because a lot of people stay in a healthy relationship because there's so many things that can be good, but they're not maybe fully listening to the undercurrent that actually is, this is not for you, or you are not meant to be with them for longer than this chapter. And that's beautiful. And so that's what was going on in my life at that time. I was struggling so hard to leave that relationship because of the depth of love that I had for the person that I was with and how much I wanted them to be in my life, but I knew that I couldn't have them in my life in the way that I wanted. And so it was the initiation of letting go of someone who I loved and grieving them as if any relationship is ending, but honestly, such a beautiful grief because it's pure. It's just pure love. Like there's no animosity, there's no anger, there's no revenge, there's no resentment. It's just like, I love you and I have to let you go. And that was, like the spark of the fire that stoked the whole next chapter of my life, which was, shaving my head was another part of that and letting go of a lot of a lot of that people pleasing. Actually, now that I think about it, it's like that felt like a deep release at that moment where I just said F it. And I really just stopped trying to be this, like, I'm going to fit in everyone's boxes, and shaving my head was a part of that. 'Cause it was just like, here's all of me. This is my face and this is my head. And I can't hide behind my hair and I can't hide behind the past versions of Hannah. Like this is a new era and I'm going to step fully into that era. And man, it's just like,
yes,
since
domino
that,
effect.
yeah, it's been an unpacking of so much since then.
Beautiful and also tough.
Yeah.
And out of curiosity, so the situation was that you were in a healthy relationship. You loved that person, you loved each other.
Mm-hmm.
The relationship was healthy. No, it was not right for you to continue that relationship. And
Yeah.
you had to make that call, even though, you know, it would hurt you
Yeah.
and probably the other person too.
Yeah. And it was heartbreaking knowing that they felt differently. Like
They wanted to stay.
Yeah. And that's even worse because it's like, how do I so clearly feel one thing and you so clearly feel another? And there has to be the trust of like what I'm feeling is exactly what I need to feel. And it's going to be in the best possible choice. It's going to be the best possible choice for myself and you right now, but also the versions of us that we are becoming and that we want to become. Because what I couldn't give them what they needed, and they couldn't give me what I needed in the grand scheme of life. And having to make that choice is hard. But again, a lot of people I don't think do it, or if they do, they maybe just don't talk about it. And so that's why I think it resonated. But yeah, it was not easy, but I look back on it now and I'm like, wow, I'm really grateful that I moved through it. I'm really grateful that I made that choice and did it with so much, tried to do it with as much love and care as you can when you're, you know, ending something and breaking up with someone.
Are you in good terms? Are you still in touch?
No, we're not. And that part still feels really sad for me because I really just love that person so much and just as a human and, you know, would love to be friends. And I think I have the capacity for that. I know I have the capacity for that, but I don't know if they do. And so it feels right to continue to give space.
Yes, at least for now.
You never know. You never know with life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
It's a good segue to the next chapter of your life, growth of mind.
Yeah.
So you started a year and a half ago, give or take, so 2024.
There's 2023 when I came back from, when I like started the Instagram account. Yeah, it was 2023. I just moved back from Italy. And it was like later that year, just about to be 2024. And I decided to create it. And I don't think I actually posted on it until 2024. I just like started it and I left it as a blank page.
Yeah.
I was like, what am I doing? What is this going to be? And then I remember feeling so nervous and then also feeling like, who cares? Like, if no one even looks at this, whatever. And so I like created it and then I didn't touch it. And then I ended up starting to post on it right as like the new year started off because I feel like that was like the pivot of like charging into a new year with all the things.
What specifically made you shift? Like in your mind, you went from, I'm so self-conscious that I want to post because I don't know what, there's so many fears, right? People pleasing, people were not going to like it, people were going to make fun of me, to fuck it, let's do it.
The shift was that I really felt into like timing, and I also believe deeply that it's exactly when we need to do something that we will like have that gut feeling, that intuition. And coming back, there was so much happening in my life from Italy. I was lost, like so lost in the sense that I genuinely was like, what am I going to do? Who am I going to be? Because I can't go into a 9-to-5. I never have and I never will. But I knew that like wasn't a path, and not to shame a 9-to-5 because I have a whole other world of thoughts on that. But I knew it wasn't for me. And I was like, what am I going to do with my life? And life coaching just was a seed that had been planted. And immediately I was like, whoa, I felt like this pull towards it. Same with yoga therapy. It happened not even a month later, and a day, I think it was literally that week. It was the week before this training started, which you have to commit to 3.5 years in person of training. And I was like, I can't stay here for 3.5 years and live with my family. And what am I going to do?
There was a yoga training?
Yoga therapy.
You were about to, therapy, sorry.
Yeah. So
it was about to start, and then you said...
Literally that week. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And so like, it was all these things happening. And I just was saying yes to the things that felt warm and that felt alive and that felt exciting, even though I felt scared. And with growth of mind, I knew that I wasn't ready yet because I wasn't fully clear. And I wanted to be really clear with myself in terms of like, I'm not posting on here to please. I'm not posting on here to be anything other than me, because every other Instagram account that I have had like 4 Instagram accounts before Growth of Mind. The first one got deleted. I like built it up a little bit in high school and it got deleted. And I was like, shoot, I thought I was doing well with that.
How come?
I don't remember. I think they thought I was like impersonating someone. Anytime someone looks up my name, Hannah Montana comes up and Miley Cyrus. And so it's always like, I think, yeah, maybe there was some weird thing that happened there, but it was deactivated. And I remember being so heartbroken because I was like, I just was starting to grow that. And it like, I maybe had like 5,000 followers, 6,000 followers, but it was like a big deal for me at that time. I was like, I just started building this community. And then I knew why it needed to be let go of now when I look back on that time. And then the next account that I created was like Wholesome Hannah. And it was going to be like this like really like organic vegan Instagram account because I was vegan at the time and like leading this very like trying to lead this very like plant-based fitness, wellness, lifestyle, yoga. But I was just starting to understand myself in the realm of like wellness. So of course that didn't work out and it ended up getting deleted. And I was like, I don't know what's happening with these accounts, but maybe I'm just not supposed to be on Instagram. So I just stopped using it and I took like a month off and then I made another account and that account became like a food account. And it was like me posting food. And then it got changed in college. I started posting outfit videos and YouTube videos around random things. And it was just like this constant evolution of like me feeling so called to share my life online just from a young age, which I was very, I don't know, just in alignment with. I was like, I want to share my life online. I want other people to feel connected and I want to feel connected to them. And then I kept doing it. And then Growth of Mind was like the most clear because I still have that other account. I post whatever I want on it when I want, if I want, but it's kind of like a just there. And Growth of Mind was like, this is like it. This is my passion, my purpose, my dharma in alignment with the authentic expression of who I am and knowing that who I am is ever evolving and who I am is malleable and it has texture and it has all these aspects of life that are open-ended. And so that became this like direct channel of I'm just going to share. And whatever it is that I'm meant to share, it will happen in that way. And I just kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it. And it was being received well. And and then it's become, this little corner of the internet where I get to
new world.
Connect with so many incredible humans. So
you shared that your purpose is to make other people feel empowered. What gets in the way? When you look at people you have met, like you can think about your story, obviously, but also other people that you have helped or you have met or that have been positively influenced by your content and your work.
Yeah, what gets in the way of helping them?
For them to feel empowered. So when, for example, if you think about your life and your example, at some point you were going to different directions and it took you a while to then feel, I actually can be my authentic self. I can post about all my different areas and I can do this thing that is really calling me.
Yeah, it's definitely living from, for me, it was living from the desired state to be someone that I wasn't. And that comes from here. It comes from the mind and a very like egocentric expression versus from like the heart and the womb and the core of our existence. And so it was rewiring my mind because often our body is expressing what's living up here. And so my body in its own ways through back pain and through, other things that I was struggling with through acne was expressing the emotional resistance and the mental limiting beliefs and lack mindsets that I was, basically selling my soul to. And the moment that I started to slow down and actually just like sit in all of that shit, for lack of better words, is when I realized how freaking powerful the mind is. And when the mind and the body have this relationship and they're speaking to each other and we feed that relationship, there becomes a moment where you have no choice but to do things differently. And that's exactly what happened for me. That's what happens with my clients when I'm working with them one-on-one in a coaching container. It's not their heart that's stopping them. They feel, and it's like the most beautiful thing to see people feel so passionately about who they are, what it is that they desire and know that they are worthy of and capable of. But it's the mind that gets in the way. And that journey comes through a lot of recalibration of the conscious and subconscious mind, as well as coming home to the body and having a deep relationship with the body.
Tell me more. So deep relationship with the body means that you start feeling emotions more. And
yeah,
please.
Yeah, it's basically, it's creating often like something that I experienced was this disconnect from the body where I was in so much physical chronic pain that it was like the desire to run out of my body. So instead of accepting my body as it was in the pain, I would push against it. I would force myself to like escape it. And so the reconnection to the body is literally as simple as even speaking to your body, touching your body, and reminding yourself that you live in this vessel. And it's not something to hate. You don't have to love it, but you have to accept it. And the moment that you actually accept it and you're like, oh my gosh, you are the vessel that is expressing life, I can actually create space for you to be as you are, and then to connect with you and support you through breath, through movement, through nervous system regulation techniques, through touch, and that becomes the coming home to the body. So it's the body, yes, expresses emotions in a way, and our fascia and our connective tissue, it holds our ability to react or respond in terms of like nervous system regulation, and we can get into all of that. And the experience that I have had the deepest relationship with is shifting the mind, shifting the way that we think about ourselves in the world, shifting, feeding the mind the new thoughts and the positive things, but also just like the equanimous things that are, foundationally neutral, and then giving the space for the body to express and move and be as it needs, and having a relationship with it.
Yes. Can you share a bit more? Maybe you mentioned a few exercises, for example, breathing or reconnecting. Let's say I'm in a moment where I go in my mind because I cannot feel, I'm completely detached from feeling my body, which I think happens to most people that I know. Happens to myself a lot too.
Yeah.
How do I get back to my body so I start listening to what my body is saying?
Yeah. One of my favorite ways, I do this all the time, I think I was just doing it like a minute ago, I always put my hand on my heart and just push down slightly. And this for me is like, whoa, I got me. Like immediately I just feel a sense of connection, a sense of like, okay, I'm here. I'll put the other hand sometimes on the belly just to feel more connection. This is a mudra in yoga. But it doesn't have to be this. It could be, giving yourself a hug. It could be having the hands just palms facing down on the lap and feeling your thighs. And these are like short, small grounding techniques to just be like, okay, I'm actually in a body right now, and I'm not just up here. I have this other experience that is with me. And then you can imagine, something as simple as like, what am I sitting on? Like doing a technique where you're coming back into where you presently are. So if we're living up here, and there's this can be very contextual depending on the person or like what your experience is that you're moving through. But if it's just a disconnect where you're like, I just feel like disconnected, I'm overthinking or I'm stressed or whatnot, sometimes as simple as just tapping into feeling yourself, feeling your body and touching, be like, okay, I'm here. And then also noticing like, okay, where am I in my surroundings right now? I'm seated on a chair. Can I feel that connection? I see a door. I see lights. I see the ground. Naming those things. What can I hear? What can I taste? What can I smell? It's like those sensory experiences bring us right back into the body. It's like, oh, I can actually feel that. I can actually taste that. I can actually smell that. And it's a way to just come back home really, really simply. Other things would be your breath. Our breath is such a big part of our lives, and we don't give our breath and our lungs the credit and love that they deserve and need, because we just breathe all the time without thinking about it. But the moment that your breath becomes a tool for self-regulation, and also the moment you become aware of your breath as the reactor when things are not maybe going as we want them to, we have the ability to respond. So if I feel tense, often my shoulders are going to be lifted, my posture will show it. I'll be more collapsed, my ribs will be in, and my lungs won't have as much room to expand. My diaphragm will be more contracted upwards. So all of those body signs, immediately it's like, okay, what happens if I open my chest, open my ribs, and then take a deep, slow breath in, and an even slower breath out? Immediately there's just like oh, I'm okay. Even if you're not okay. It's
Yes.
like a reminder that you will be there. So doing like a slow 4-count breath in, 8-count breath out, extending the exhales anytime you're in a state of dysregulation or upregulation where you're hyper aware or hyper vigilant. It can start to take you back down to earth.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Super beautiful. And I think the challenge, if I look at myself, I'm very aware of breathing, for example. But as you mentioned, sometimes I forget.
Yeah,
That,
we all do.
Yeah, right. It is such an interesting thing. And I realized that for me, pain disconnects me, makes me feel dissociated. So I go back in my head and then I start thinking. And sometimes I distract myself not to feel the pain. It's pretty clear. And I've realized also very often also pleasure. So when I'm having a lot of pleasure from different activities, physical activities, sex is one of them, but it could be also playing music or surfing or doing Muay Thai, for example.
Yeah.
My mind drifts outside too. And that's a very interesting way to, for me to understand that I think the mind and the body have this kind of relationship where the mind is in a way supporting us in when we have some experiences to some degree feel uncomfortable, it takes us completely outside.
Totally.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's that's something that I think is vastly relatable in our human experience. Escapism as a whole, it's a coping mechanism. Whatever is the root underneath it, because there's always a root. So whatever the mass pleasure is covering and whatever the mass pain is covering, it's deeply rooted. The branches of the tree could be pain or pleasure, but there's an anchor to it. And so sometimes we don't even need to know right away like what that anchor is or what's going on there, but it's the self-regulating, bringing ourselves into equanimity that can allow us to explore that anchor from a place of curiosity and non-judgment. And if we're living in deep escapism, whether it's in, pain or pleasure or whatever it is, we often are deeply disconnected from the body in that moment, like you said. And so those techniques, simple techniques, there's thousands of techniques, but something as simple as focusing on your surroundings and focusing on your breath and your body where it is in that moment can just start to bring you into deeper awareness and presence. It might not fix it all and change it all right then and there, but it's a habit that you're building and a rewiring, conscious rewiring, that takes time, but repetition is a way that we can shift our minds, and it's a way that we can eventually shift our relationship to the body. And escapism is it's one of the biggest things that I hear people struggling with the most, whether it's, drinking or sex or, even traveling. People just, I need to go to the next place and the next place and the next place. And it's like, what are we running from? What is there that's underneath it all that we're not letting ourselves feel, that we're not accepting, that we're not allowing ourselves to be whole with? And the moment we invite it in and say, you're welcome. You're welcome to be in my life, and you're welcome to be in this experience, no matter how uncomfortable or hard this is. And that is like the beginning of wholeness. And that's the beginning of equanimity, which is not good nor bad, but it just is.
You feel you actually accept and integrate every part of yourself, even the emotions. Yes.
Yeah, and it's not fun. But
no, extremely difficult.
Yeah.
And for me, the very dangerous escaping coping mechanism are working is one of them. Or
a lot of people right now, myself included, I've had this.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think we all there's something in that cup.
Like, what can we make? What can we do?
Yes.
How can I show to the world that I am more, show to my parents or show to whoever, to myself, even versions of myself, that I am more by how much I do. And that becomes a very slippery slope when we're, trying to prove and perform and push. And me now stepping into this week, I'm launching an ebook with one of my business partners and best friends. We are starting a women's coaching program, and we're launching
Lokah,
yeah
very cool.
And we're launching this ebook on Monday. And what's really exciting about this is, as much as I am excited to help all these people and women do the work, I have been challenged to the 10th degree to do the work myself, especially in the last 2 months of my life, going through sicknesses, getting stung by a sea urchin, heartbreak, rejection, like all these things, being in my luteal phase right now, like all these things happening at once where I'm like, okay, how can I slow down? How can I do less? How can I be ease? How can I just allow and surrender and accept every heartbreaking or challenging moment that is right now, and to also choose to see the beauty that lies within it, and to choose to see what lessons are here. And it's not easy work, but if I'm going to hold space for other women and people to do the same, I have to do it, and I want to do it, and I get to do it. And so it's the path we're walking.
For sure. And I think the path you are walking, I think it allows you to be better in your journey.
100%. What would life be if it was just like la-di-da-di-da,
yes.
rainbows and butterflies? It's all so easy. Like, I wouldn't be able, even, life coaching, that all came through 8.5 years of chronic back pain and loneliness and sadness. I swear I remember crying. I was holding rosary, and I was praying on every bead, and I printed out a prayer too. And I was like, please God, please Mother Mary, like praying to anyone. I was like, help me get through this pain. Like there has to be something more. And I tried so hard praying on every single bead. And I went to bed that night being so hopeful that I was going to wake up. For some reason, I thought like, I'm going to wake up the next day and not have pain. Mm-hmm. And I woke up the next day and my pain was flaming. Oh. It was on fire. And I just remember I was having back spasms. It was hurting to get out of bed. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? I just spent an hour praying to who for me to wake up in so much pain. And like that moment was so pivotal for me to say F it to everything I thought I knew at that time about religion and God and life and myself. And it was like everything had to fall apart and feel so hard. I was like, is this my life? Is this all it's going to be? Because I can't do this for every year of my life, to be in so much pain and to like hate myself and to hate the world. Like I was so angry. And now when I look back on that, and there's so much light in me, and there always has been, even when it was very deep, I look back on those moments and I'm like, oh, thank God I had those experiences and that darkness, because it has allowed me to be capable of holding everything I've been holding and moving with everything I've moved with. So now when my heart's broken, and now when I get rejected or things don't go my way, I'm not like, F you, and like cursing the sky or cursing someone. It's like, oh, okay, this is redirection. This is me getting to rebuild. And what a gift that whatever and whoever is on the other side of this pain and heartbreak and sadness and sickness and whatever is going to be even more beautiful than I could have ever imagined.
Yes. You mentioned before this morning when we were texting, you said everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
What's your relationship with that sentence?
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. I think it's so funny that we use so many adages, and they often, become abused in our language, and then people get annoyed of them. And I love it. I fully believe in it, and I will not stop believing in it, whether people think that it's ignorant or naive or whatever. It's like, this is my belief, and I hold it so true because it's continued to show me over years of all the experiences that I've had, good and bad and all the in between. That belief is what gets me to the other side. So if I don't have that belief, then what am I doing? Mm-hmm. What am I believing in? But if I believe, everything happens for a reason. So even me, getting sick again in Bali and having things, not work out in a relationship and having, my heart broken again. It's like in a new way now. It's like, oh, okay, wow. I know that in all of this, it is happening for something better, for something bigger, for something more expansive, more loving to unfold. And the more I tell myself that story and the more I believe that story, the more true it becomes. You have no choice but to seek that. Your brain is going to do its job to find that as your truth and as your reality. And so I'm not going to stop using that, and I will not stop believing it because it is my light. It's my North Star. For sure.
And there's this thing, okay, let's assume that this is scientifically false.
Yeah.
It is still very useful for your life, as you said.
Right.
It leads to a better outcome than you cursing a god or
right.
someone else for the misfortune that you had in that moment, right?
Totally. It's responsibility. It's saying I'm able to respond. I am able to take care of myself. I am able to show up even when it's hard and even when I don't want to. I'm able to choose rest when the rest of the world is telling me to go more and harder and faster. I am able to choose myself even when I may, want to choose outsourcing of some degree, but it's sacred responsibility. It's radical responsibility, saying it's no one's fault that this is happening right now. No one's fault, not even my own, but it is the reality, and it is my responsibility to show up fully for myself, to show up fully for whatever it is that I need to show up for, the people, the experiences, the healing, the love, the taking care of me. And you bet I'm going to do that. And so that is the story, that it's like, if we can tell ourselves that story and fully hold it and believe it, because you can't just tell yourself it, you have to actually believe it. That's where the feeling, the frequency is connected to it, and it's like the force that moves you. So yeah, it's like, I'm going to take responsibility that it's not your fault, God. It's not your fault.
Yes.
Whatever. But I'm going to, okay, this is the scenario. How can I learn? How can I accept? How can I surrender? Yes. And that's where the alchemy happens.
And then you grow out of any experience.
Yeah.
Whatever, whether it's a painful experience, you grow, or it's a pleasant experience, you grow.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was this exercise that I've actually heard in a podcast when the guests were suggesting when something bad, quote unquote bad, happens to you, write down a reminder to yourself in, I think it was a week, a month, 6 months, a year, to remind yourself when, like in a week, for example, what things did this thing open up that you would not expect.
I love that.
It's a beautiful thing.
I actually really love that. I think I'm going to do that. I've been doing a version of that, but on video. And it's really funny. I mean, it's not funny to see myself cry. It just sounds awful. But it is funny because, even people who are like, you post yourself crying a lot. And I'm like,
I cry a lot.
Yeah, I cry a lot. And also, like, I'm able, for some reason in my brain, like, I don't record those to be like, I'm recording this for Instagram. Wow. Like, no, it's me in the moment. And often a lot of those videos actually come from diaries. So I have like 17-minute videos of me crying on my phone that I've had to now cut up because I'm like, I can't have this on my phone. And I just start the recording like when I feel called to, not when I'm like mid deep, but when I'm like, okay, I can talk. And I often express exactly what it is that I'm going through at that time, like a journal diary. But when I can't sit and write, when I'm sad and when I'm moving through deep emotions, that's when I turn the camera on and I just sit and I talk to myself, and I talk to the versions of myself that need to hear it right then. And then I also give a message to my future self. So the video I just took, I won't actually watch and listen. I was crying the other day.
This morning.
Yeah, this morning. I won't.
My daily cry.
Yeah, daily. Literally, it's been a daily cry as of lately. But when I watch it back, it won't be like really watch it back and listen and go through and take what I need to take from it. It won't be for like about a month or 2 months. And then I'll go back to that video and I'll listen to it. And often I'm smiling and like giving myself the biggest hug, that version of myself. And yeah, it's been such a good practice to have. I've been doing it since college, and now that's why I have so many crying videos for Instagram.
For future.
Yeah,
Honest.
right.
Yes,
but
such a beautiful practice.
Yeah, it's helpful a lot.
I do feel, for example, I do journaling a lot myself, and I used to do that in writing on my phone. But I prefer it because then I can recall it very easily instead of writing by hand.
Yeah.
I started doing that, the equivalent of that in video. What I love about that is that you see much more of your emotions.
Yeah.
Is that similar to you?
You see like the most raw, vulnerable version of yourself. And I'm in awe when I like watch those videos back, and there's parts of me, of course, that, you know, will like, oh, that
Cringe.
hurt. Like I can see that's hurting you, you know, but it's just it's pure love. It's pure love when I watch them back. And when I also am able to uncover the deeper meanings within it all, because it's like everything can just come through. I'm not putting on a performance. It's like I'm just with my feelings. And when I started doing it, I never had the intention to share myself crying on the internet, but it was like I was sitting in my dorm room and I remember being like, I need to talk to my future self, because one day I'm not going to feel this. Like one day I'm not going to be going through this. Of course, life is life, and you're going to feel, and things are going to come up, and grief is there, and people die, and things happen, and people you love leave, and whatever. It's like, this is life. But it was that specific scenario of like, okay, I'm not going to feel this again in this way, in this moment in my life with this person or this thing or whatever I'm moving through. And for me to just feel so deeply and then give my future self advice of like, this is not forever, it's temporary. And then every time I watch it, I'm like, it was temporary. It moved, it passed. Like that's the for me, the gold of doing the video diaries, is because I get to be like, I did even a year ago now, looking back at those videos of me crying, you know, after having to break up with someone, and being like, wow, that hurt, and I can see how much that hurt, but I'm so proud of you because you did that and you carried yourself through it. And this has been one of the best years of my life in all of the heartbreak and movement and growth of my mind and my body and my soul and all of it.
Beautiful. What a gift to use, to be able to use in this time in history, like our grandparents were not able to do that.
Right. Yeah, we truly have so much access to tools that we didn't have, you know, as a species. And so to be able to take it and not take it for granted, but use that privilege and to support ourselves in all the weird ways that we can, and all the, you know, techniques. I was just at a cafe before this, like tapping and doing breath and meditating, and I'm like, this may have been weird, or maybe it is weird, I don't know, but I'm like, may have been weird, it also probably still is weird, but I was just like, you know, I know that I feel like not my best right now, so I'm going to take care of me. And even if it's in the middle of a cafe surrounded by a ton of people who might look at me and be like, what's that girl doing? But we have knowledge now just at our fingertips, so why not use it and practice so that we can one day embody it?
For sure. And using that also to share with other people, like you do, for example, or I'm sure you do also on the receiving side. You can watch videos.
Yeah.
We're talking about learning Italian. Learn Italian from YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Out of all places, right?
Yeah.
Such a gift that we have.
It's incredible. And it you can literally learn anything.
Yes. And I wanted to ask you about your work as a coach. And you mentioned before you have clients. Do you coach them into what let's say areas of their life?
Yeah, everything. When I started coaching, all my coaches at the time were like, Hannah, you need to have a niche. You need to have a specific thing that you're working, on with them, whether that's relationships or, something else. I don't know. There's so many things you can coach on, but I never resonated with that. And so I tried. I was like, what would I be like as a relationship coach? As like just a coach for women, just a coach for this thing and this thing. And then I was like, no, it's not. I just trusted. I was like, when I got into coaching, I'm like, whoever I'm meant to support and help, they'll come to me and I'll help them with exactly what it is that they need help with. And so what I've come to discover is that my niche, to some degree, all sits within the house of yoga and yoga therapy. And then in that house, there's like a room that is hypnosis. And then there's a room that goes into another modality. And there's another room that goes into another modality or exploration. There's a room for somatics. Like there's just a full house of different rooms of tools and techniques and explorations and studies. And that's like the house that I just gently guide my clients through. And with that being said, within that house, anything is welcome in. So whether that's relationships or whether that's money or whether it's, anything, woman, cyclical living and menstruators and any of that, it's like whatever is present for those people in the moment that we are on our call, like that is where we go. So it's a vast network right now of exploration, and the experience that has given me has been unmatched because I've understood now how to navigate many different facets of life within myself and within the mirroring back of these experiences and scenarios to my clients.
Yes, completely. And you mentioned a couple of topics. One is moving through life for women, essentially. What does that mean? You said living according to your period, essentially.
Yeah, so cyclical living is living in cycles and living with the natural cycles that exist within us. We all are cyclical, whether you're a man or woman or don't identify with gender. We're all cyclical beings, and our cycles are biologically different. So men run on the circadian rhythm and women run on the circadian rhythm as well as the infradian rhythm, meaning that we have a cycle that lasts, sometimes 28 days to 35 days, and it varies. And within that cycle, our hormones are going through a full journey. And with that journey, we have to actually shift what we are doing physically, how we are thinking, how we are showing up in life in order to support our hormones, in order to support our overall well-being in those phases. And so our ability to live cyclically is not just this idea of like, oh, we're going to do this thing in this phase and this thing in this phase, but it's understanding that these 4 main phases that we have as menstruators, we have the ability to drastically change the way that we move in order to literally feel better. And so I was living out of sync with my menstrual cycle for years. I didn't even have a cycle for years, and that's not normal.
Was that because of contraceptions or?
No, it was because of dance. I was dancing and doing so much activity, 24 hours a week of dancing nonstop. My body was, just absolutely obliterated from dancing that much. And on top of that, my hormones, my stress, I was like, my face was so puffy. I had acne. I was going through my body just trying to protect myself. And the first thing to go is your reproductive system, because your body's like, I can't focus on, taking care of you and fertility.
The cortisol is killing everything else.
Yes, when you're spiked up through the roof. And so that was for 4 years. And I saw, doctors, and I sought out support for it. And pretty much everyone was like, quit dance. And I was like, okay, well, that's not happening right now. So what else can I do? And it wasn't until I took matters into my own hands and started to really understand my body, that I was able to get my cycle back and have a cycle that wasn't painful and a cycle that, modern society couldn't like judge and make fun of and be like, oh, she's on her period, she's crazy or this or that. And it's like, well, no shit, women are crazy. Like, we're experiencing 40 plus hormones within this entire, journey, cycling and moving and shifting. So my intention with that and my mission is to allow women to come home to themselves, or menstruators to come home to themselves in a way where they feel deeply supported by the natural rhythms that exist within them. There's a lot of depth there, and there's a lot of integration of yoga and somatics and other techniques that I've studied. But essentially it's just, how can we actually honor our biology in a very ancestral, in a very innate way that bridges us back to our most natural and our most held selves.
Yes, instead of trying to push yourself, like similar to what we were saying before, escape from that pain you're feeling naturally, that low energy, that the effect of the hormones on your mind, how you're seeing things.
Yeah, the quality of my mind is drastically different right now in this moment because I'm in my luteal phase. So my body is like preparing to go into the menstrual phase. And so
luteal phase is the 2 weeks, 10 days before the
Yes,
start.
it's before, And so you're everything, it's like we call this season the inner autumn. So you're shedding, you're preparing to release, you're getting ready to let go. And a part of that is like taking things really slow, starting to just eat different foods. Like there's so many things that go with it, but it's really the invitation to do less. And the quality of my mind in this phase is significantly lower than the quality of my mind even in like the menstrual phase. There's a shift that happens, and understanding that now has been the most helpful thing, because younger versions of me that were struggling so deeply and were like, why do I like hate myself and life and everything right now? And I never understood because I didn't know where I was even at in my cycle. I was just living on an app and going through life blind because our education systems are, really not supporting us in terms of understanding ourselves and how to take care of ourselves to even just feel more content, more peaceful.
Yes, well, we have zero understanding of these things from the education system, unless we really individually decided to dig deeper into these topics.
Yeah, or unless your parents or guardians, are supporting you, but unfortunately most don't, because most don't have the education themselves. And again, it's like, it's no one's fault, but it is our responsibility, and that's why I'm building this brand with my friend, because we just
Lokah. Also.
Yeah, yes. Lokah. We are like going all in on, wow, we have this knowledge to share and this wisdom that we've been, gifted and have been living for the last however many years. And we just want to help other people feel better.
Yes. And for a woman, a trans woman, female, a person that goes through the menstrual cycle, listening, what is one of the things that they should understand or try to be aware of if they never lived in a way that is cyclical?
Yeah, I think I would invite them to join any sort of training or program or, course out there, because again, it's like, even we invite in people who don't even have cycles, or rather in the terms of like a menstrual cycle. And it's because the education itself is also a return to deep embodiment practices that allow you to get in better relationship with your body as it is in the moment and with your mind as it is in the moment. So whether you have a menstrual cycle or not, or whether your hormones are somewhere or not, this is a level like 1. Our specific stuff is level 1 education in terms of what we're offering for this first cohort. And I would really highly suggest that, anyone out there were to just take matters into their own hands, to be like, the world will tell you a lot, and medicine will tell you a lot. Allopathic medicine will tell you a lot, and it's important to listen, but to not take on all those things as your truth. and to explore for yourself, like, okay, what does it feel like for me to live cyclically with maybe even the moon? If you don't have a cycle, you can live in the cycle and in the phases of the moon to practice embodying these different phases, or understanding that if you feel, lethargic or slow or tired in like a certain part of your cycle, whether you have a menstrual cycle or not, you're able to like track that and understand, okay, I can show up for myself differently in this time when I feel this way. Mm-hmm. So it's a path towards more self-reciprocity as well as more autonomy, whatever your experience is and whatever your gender is, or even sexuality. Like none of that is something that we are pushing away. It's like we welcome all of it in, and how can you know your unique, beautiful self just a little bit better?
Yes. Similar to what you were saying about being more present and having this relationship with your body where you are training your body, you're kind of
like I got you.
Exactly. Yeah. Instead of saying, oh, you're feeling like this, just move away.
Right.
Go there, sit on the other couch.
Right. And like medicine too will often, like conventional medicine will often like just look for specific symptoms to treat rather than really creating a container for you to be in relationship with yourself. Mm-hmm. And so if we can take the connection that may have been severed and just start to bring the cords back together time and time again, that cord will grow stronger and stronger and stronger. And then there will be a time where you will feel like, okay, I actually do have me. Because for a while, it kind of feels like you are pretending and you're like training yourself and you're putting the training wheels on and you're practicing believing. But then at some point, the more you practice it, the more it actually becomes a part of who you are. And you're like, okay, I can do this.
You show yourself that that's actually real, that's possible.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And staying with the coaching and going from the body to the mind of your clients, the people you coach. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about limiting beliefs, which is something you spoke about a lot.
Oh yeah, limiting beliefs. Don't we all have them?
Yes. Confirmed.
Fortunately and unfortunately, they can be really great teachers, and they also can be really painful companions. But I do a lot of limiting belief work. A good chunk of the work I do within coaching is rewiring limiting beliefs. And the two main things that I navigate limiting beliefs with is the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. And the modalities that I've studied with, yoga is very present moment focus. It's very here and now awareness, where subconscious work is the lens that I work through is hypnosis. And so going into theta brainwaves and doing rewiring when you're in a hypnagogic state. And so with my clients, I'm currently in hypnosis school right now. So I've just been, even though I have understandings of a lot of the stuff that we've been doing, I've just been working on like the actual modality of guiding someone into that state through this practice.
Quick clarification, you are in hypnosis school, meaning you're training to be a hypnotherapist?
A hypnotist, a clinical hypnotist, yeah. Okay. So that program I've been in for the last 3 months now, and it's been incredible, and it's taught me a lot about the mind. It's also very deeply connected to a lot of the things I've already learned in yoga and yoga therapy, which has been really beautiful. And essentially, when I'm looking at limiting beliefs within myself, like all of this work started with me doing it first. So me seeing a hypnotist, me doing conscious rewiring work. And so I actually only did conscious rewiring with my clients for the first year of being a life coach, because it's really all I felt that I, knew and understood in that moment. And now that I've furthered and gone into hypnosis and the subconscious mind work, it's even more powerful. Consciously, when we're rewiring our beliefs, it can be actually way more challenging to rewire your mind, but repetition is the main key when you're doing any sort of conscious reprogramming, meaning that you are aware, you are in, your beta, one of the levels of beta brainwaves, and you're reprogramming yourself through deep repetition and stimulating different parts of the brain.
Which is NLP, neuro linguistic program.
Yes, exactly. And so when you're doing this reprogramming, you're stoking different areas of your mind. So it always starts with, I have them say their limiting belief, and we will write it down. And then I like to just cross it out. So I do a big line through it. If you want to burn it, you can burn it, but a big line through it. And then beneath the limiting belief, I have them create themselves their own belief. Because if I give you a belief, it's very different than you actually having, cultivated that belief from within yourself. So if the limiting belief is like, let's see, I'm not good enough, you would write it down, cross it out, and then the belief is going to be, I am inherently enough just as I am. I'd write that right underneath it. And then now I have to read it. Just silently, I'm reading it in my mind. I am inherently enough just as I am. And then I have to say it. And I make them say it 3 times. And you can ask my clients, I'm like, say it like you believe it. Because often it starts like, I am inherently enough just as I am. And I'm like, I don't believe you. So I don't think you believe you if I can't believe you. And then I'll make them like say it like, I am inherently enough just as I am. As if it is like the most true thing that you have ever known and experienced in your life. And this is the work that I was doing before I even dove deeper into like any sort of conscious reprogramming. And so I would go around my house and do this. And I'd be like, I am inherently enough just as I am. And I would just scream it and say it in the mirror and, get it on video as many times as I could for whatever the belief that I was rewiring. And then after you do that, you actually have to feel it, because the starting to rev up the energy is what cultivates feeling. So like, what would it feel like for me to be inherently enough just as I am in this moment? And I think of that version of myself as if she's here right now. Like, what is she wearing? What is she, doing?
As an alternative version of yourself or a future version of yourself when...
Future. Yeah, I do future, but it could be an alternative. But I think of myself like just a little bit in the future, not too far away, but just a little bit in the future. Like, how does that version of myself who actually believes that she's just enough because she exists, like, what does she do? Does she stand up a little bit taller? Does she dress a little differently? Is she, does her hair look a little different? Like, whatever those more external factors are, those can get really exciting to feel into. Like, oh yeah, she does wear this and do that. And then I think of like, how does she speak? What is her energy and her presence like? And then in that moment, when you start to feel it and you start to imagine, it's an imaginal technique, but you get yourself into that state, and then it gets exciting. You're like, oh my gosh, she's awesome. She's so beautiful. She's like walking with so much confidence. And then you have, no choice than to feel it, because you're creating the feeling deeply within you, and you're, stimulating a new part now of your brain, going from writing, reading, saying, speaking, to feeling. And so you're getting this full body experience of taking that belief and reworking it. The challenge is it's hard to do that on your own. And so having someone guiding you through that experience, me being a coach and really holding someone in these experiences and then taking them deeper into deeper work of meditations and even hypnosis and bringing it into that's when it's like gold.
Yes, because you're combining, it feels like everything is aligning, right?
Yeah.
And you're using also the feeling and the body to then realign the person and break through the limiting beliefs.
Exactly, yeah.
Yes. And you briefly mentioned Lokah, the project you're launching.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that it's also about helping other people living in a cyclical way.
Yeah.
What are the, if you can share it, what are the things you're going to be working on as part of Lokah, the project with your friend?
Yeah, totally. So the first thing that we're launching is the ebook, and this ebook is like 46 pages of just thick information. Like, we took everything that we have studied. We're both coaches outside of everything else. We're both yoga teachers, and we both have studied differently with different programs and whatnot. And then we've both done menstrual cycle training, coaching, and education. And then we've also gone in, right now, we're both in psychosomatic training as well. So we're in a 5-month program for that, Container Together. And we wanted to do that together to integrate that into the work that we're doing. And so this book has everything from the different phases and what they are, the hormones, nervous system regulation, it has, aspects of yoga therapy in it, just outlining so many different areas of the cycle. And we really wanted it to be an extensive book that feels like someone's, sacred kind of journal of like, I can come back to this any moment that I forget, or any moment that I'm like, what should I do to support myself in this moment, in this
Manual.
time? It's like a manual. Exactly. It's a better word for it. So it's really like a manual for anyone to just start to dive into this. And it's all online, which is nice because you can just have it on your phone. I do recommend printing it out though, because I just printed one yesterday, and it's so nice to like get to flip through something and be like, wow, I have a little booklet. But that's like the first thing. And then the next thing is our program, which is a live 6-week program. And within that, we are diving deeper into those concepts. So the ebook is just enough to get you held and supported and on this journey. But then, of course, we want to go into it fully and give people all the tools and talk about all the things, and also how we can really dive into embodiment work within the different phases. So it is not just, now here are these techniques and here's the stuff about the nervous system, but like, can we practice it together?
Yes.
Can we be in it together? And so it's a whole, they're 90-minute calls, and they go really deep into that work, and a lot of other things. We have, parts of mythology incorporated. We have parts of yoga and yoga therapy and a plethora of techniques. So it's super extensive, and yeah, we're just really looking forward to holding space for women and menstruators and people who are craving this reconnection to their cyclical nature.
Yes, you mentioned there is a live component, live meaning in person.
On Zoom.
On Zoom, yes.
Yeah, because we're all nomading these days.
That's the challenge of being nomadic, right?
Right, yeah.
I did see that you're organizing some retreats as well in person. That's May next?
Yes, I have.
2026?
Yeah, an Italy retreat in Abruzzo.
Why
Perché
not? Why not?
È bellissimo.
Perché no?
Yeah, perché no? I'll have a retreat in Abruzzo in May, and I'm really excited. That's a cyclical living retreat. So that's the first one that we're running of this, where it's just a very held container for yoga, ceramics, cyclical living. And then we're actually planning one for next October here in Bali. So it will be just kind of down south. We're still organizing all the details, but it will be here in Bali, kind of in the Canggu area. I'm like hesitant to say that because I don't want people to be like, oh, we're going to Canggu for a women's retreat. Yeah, but it's not in Canggu. It's just outside of it. But that's going to be another one, and that's a very intimate retreat because of the capacity that this retreat center holds. But it's a family connection for me to this place, and so in the sense that I just hold this woman, the owner, and these workers as family. So that will be happening mostly, I'm sure, about next year.
Yes.
And then I have a course that's launching with CaliFlow, which is another incredible company that one of my dear friends owns and runs. And he brought me on this year. And so we're creating this really cool nervous system regulation, masculine, feminine archetype connection course that will go into a little bit of everything: chakras, yoga, nervous system work, and beyond. And it will have cyclical living in there as well. And that's going to be launching next year in January. So there's a lot of, that's completely self done too. It's not
self-paced online.
Yeah, self-paced and online. So there's no live stuff for that. But there will be some fun things incorporated. So
super
lots
exciting.
of stuff. Yeah, launching.
Exciting times.
It is. It's exciting, and it's like the pressure cooker is just like.
You seem to be handling that well, right?
For the most part, I'm like, I feel like this is just my like imagery of the year is hands up, heart open, surrendered to the divine plan of this wild and precious life.
Exciting. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yes. Final questions. For someone who is very close to you, maybe a lover, a partner, your family, one of your best friends, what feedback would they give you when you ask them, what do I suck at?
Oh.
What should I change?
Oh, yeah, I totally. Immediately, my mother comes into my brain. Oh, yes. I feel like she might have a lot. That woman is incredible and has a lot to say, but I think it's because we're very, very much alike. I think my mom's feedback would probably one be like fix your Instagram posts, because often I have typos, which is like so dumb. But she'll send me a picture of my captions and circle it and write on the screen and be like the new word that I like was meant to write in there.
Yes.
And I think it's so funny. That's like a little one, but genuinely, like, such a good question. They're all coming through of my mother. Like all the things she tells me, like,
It's a big mirror.
come home. Yeah. What are you doing with your life? No, let me think of someone else. I think that if I were to like receive the feedback from like one of my dear friends, it would be like, I'm so proud of you and keep going and keep showing up as you are and don't stop. Because I think that often my friends get to hear and hold all of me, and it's such a gift to have sacred sisterhood. But that means they also see the parts of me that when I'm scared and when I'm afraid and when I see the worst of like, oh, how is this going to unfold? This is going to be crazy. And so I think the biggest feedback that they would give me right now is like, keep going, but do it like a woman. Slow down.
Mm-hmm.
Slow down. Because my energy is like, I need to do it, and I need to do it all now, and I need to be, all the things I want to be. And they're just like, whoa, bro, you are doing so much.
It's all
and
right.
It's all great, and it's all right, and slow down and breathe. And how would a woman lead?
Mm-hmm.
And that, for me, has been a huge rewiring of like, oh my God, I'm doing a lot, and I don't need to do more.
Yes, makes you resented and feel more at peace.
Yeah, it's almost like, I feel like I don't resent it as much. It's more of like a, I forgot. Because it's so easy to be in this like masculine overdrive of like, I'm going to do so much. And we all, no matter who you are, we all have that as a very prevalent experience right now, especially if you're living in the Western world. And I think that reminder from those friends of like, you're actually doing a lot and you're actually doing enough, and you actually could just do nothing and you'd be fine. And so that reminder from them is like an exhale.
Mm-hmm. Great. Grateful for your friends too.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
so grateful.
Yes. And let's hypothesis, you are carrying a flag that
Mm-hmm.
everybody sees wherever you go. So wherever you enter a place, everybody will see this flag. What does the flag say or display?
I think right now, because of how much worth and enoughness and performance and proving yourself has like not only been very prevalent in my unlearning, but also a lot of the unlearning of my clients and just people in my life. It's like the thing I'm hearing again and again. This flag would say, you don't have to prove that you are worthy of love. It's going to be a long flag. You are enough just as you are. I love you. That's what it would say.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I wish that all of us creators, entrepreneurs, of whatever kind, also like workers that are working a 9-to-5 for other people, I wish we reminded ourselves more of it.
Yeah. That's something that's why I'm like, it's on that flag, and I'm like, woo!
Yes.
To myself even, I'm like, look at the flag. Okay, wave the flag. Look at the flag, because it's so easy for it to out of mind, out of sight, and
Exactly.
so we all need that.
When we are in the work, immersed in the work.
Totally.
Yes.
It's the only way to be.
Yes. And do you have any question for us, for the Question Everything team, for me personally, or for Flaminia, Yeshar, for us as a team?
What brings you the most joy?
Very good question. I think me personally, conversations, and I started enjoying disagreeing with people. I was conflict averse for a long time,
Yeah.
and now I'm feeling the beauty of. I think it's part of what you were saying. Like I'm moving away from outside validation more and more to what makes me happy, and I feel much more at peace with myself. So
Beautiful.
the disagreeing, the conflict, it's something that I actually seek as a way to get better, like understand more people, and especially in close relationships. I for whatever cosmic reason, this week, 3 of my closest ever people, I had arguments with the 3 of them for different reasons. You know, the reason was logistic stuff. Like we're booking, Airbnb, this thing that's not working, and we're like to coordinate and do all this stuff. And I've had with literally 3 of my closest people, including my 2 co-founders of Question Everything. We had arguments to this week all at the same time, and I think I really appreciate that, and it gives me joy to know that this is a way, an opportunity to understand each other better and to connect and kind of grow even stronger in the relationship out of the conflict.
I love that.
Yes.
That's so good. That's definitely something we don't hear often.
Yes, that's definitely one. And the second one, I would say definitely dancing for me. Music, I play music, a DJ, and
I love that.
Gives you a lot of joy. For me, dancing has always been there.
I can agree with that one.
Yeah,
for sure.
The way that makes me feel, and I think to some degree, for a long time, I felt that it was something I had to hide, or like the way I dance, or the way and how much I want to dance. And I think I've gone to clubs on average at least once a week since I'm 12.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
It's such a good way to feel. Talk about feeling your body. Dancing is one of the best ways, and it just gets everything moving. It gets emotions and energy. It's the best. It's so expressive.
Yes, and like reflecting back on that, for me, has always been a way to get unstuck in things that I had in my head.
It is 100%. That's why people always laugh at my shaking videos or my jumping and bouncing, and it's like it works wonders when I am living in the head and need to get back into the heart and the body. Sometimes I have music, sometimes I don't, but I'm just like, woo, and I'll just move and let it come out. And sometimes it's not pretty at all, but it's just like I don't care about it being pretty because it feels so good.
It's for you.
Right. And that it is for you. It's like, even when you're out dancing at a club, it's like, it is for you. And I actually went dancing last night and it was so fun. I was like, I never do this because I'm actually a grandmother in bed at 9 p.m. and up at 6. So for me to be out, I was like, oh my God, I'm in another world. This is crazy. But it was so fun to just literally not care if a single person watched or not. I was just like, I'm having myself a time. And
incredible.
Yeah, it was so fun.
Yes, it's a rebirth every time.
Totally.
Yes. Very cool. And what is a question we should ask the next guest?
I would ask them that. I would say, what brings you joy? Fantastic. We often don't ask people, and we're so, interested in all the nitty gritty of someone's life, and I love that. And I think that something that's helped me a lot in my life is reconnecting with childlike play and joy and dancing. And so I always love to ask people that. We forget
Beautiful
to do
question.
Things that bring us joy.
Yes. We should reconnect to our joy too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally.
It's a last question for you from the previous guest, which is, what are you most proud of in your path, in your life so far?
Honestly, I'm most proud of this moment right now. Just being here right now and reflecting on my life. It's like the present moment that makes me feel the most proud. And to be here and to be so present and able to hold so much space for this very wild, untamed life that I've been living, very blessed life that I've been living, it has just given me the utmost pride for myself, and not just for myself, but for every single human and every single thing that has happened along the way. And it's this presence to be here and not anywhere else.
I hope you're proud of yourself.
Yeah, I am. I really feel it. I hope you're proud of yourself.
I am, yes. Thank you. Been great.
Thank
Anna.
you so much.
Thank you
This
so
is
much.
awesome. I
It's been
appreciate
great.
you.
Appreciate you too. Thank you.